Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So it seems like I'm the person who is between you and the lunch right now, right? So you might be seeing me as a hot dog or a burger or something like that. To me, this mic also looks like a hot dog. But let's go ahead and start. So thank you all for inviting me to speak. I'm actually going to be on the other side of the equation. Mostly, my talks are very technical, and I put code up front and start talking about algorithms, the algorithms which are pursued quite evil by my predecessors here. However, in this case, we will talk about how we do a democratization of artificial intelligence. So we're going to talk more about how we can humanize the entire aspect of the technology. We can't really turn the tide of the technology backwards, right? We can't really go. Previously, there was concerns about the Industrial Revolution, and now that artificial intelligence and machine learning and robotics is becoming a part of our life. It's not coming, it's there. There is a bot in each one of your phones. If I tell you there is information already being sent out to the cloud within all of the instruments you are carrying, it's not surprising. AI and machine learning is here. And it is for us to figure out how can we use it most effectively. I work for UST Global as a chief architect for artificial intelligence and machine learning. And UST Global is one of the organizers and one of the sponsors of this event. So a brief introduction about the company. It has over 17,000 employees. We have a large presence here in Mexico. And we have been working with the community in various different efforts. I'll try to go fast so you guys don't get bored too easy and start heading towards the food. But we are the digital innovation provider, the digital transformation, and we provide efforts to transformational services, platform services, software lifecycle services, and work as a technology accelerator and a specialized service. I myself have a PhD in machine learning, so I work with Stanford University, your alma mater, as well as MIT, to bring the technology to the business problems, to find that intersection of how AI and machine learning can become a part of your everyday life. I would start with this short video.
I'm Saqib Sheikh. I lost my sight when I was 7, and shortly after that I went to a school for the blind. And that's where I was introduced to talking computers, and that really opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I joined Microsoft 10 years ago as a software engineer. I love making things which improve people's lives. And one of the things I've always dreamt of since I was at university was this idea of something that could tell you at any moment what's going on around you.
I think it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard.
I teamed up with like-minded engineers to make an app which lets you know who and what is around you. It's based on top of the Microsoft Intelligence APIs, which makes it so much easier to make this kind of thing. The app runs on smartphones, but also on the Pivot Head smart glasses. When you're talking to a bigger group, sometimes you can talk and there's no response, and you think, is everyone listening really well, or are they half asleep? And you never know.
I see two faces, 40-year-old man with a beard looking surprised, 20-year-old woman looking happy.
The app can describe the general age and gender of the people around me and what their emotions are, which is incredible. One of the things that's most useful about the app is the ability to read out text.
Hello, good afternoon. Here's your menu.
Great, thank you. I can use the app on my phone to take a picture of the menu, and it's going to guide me on how to take that correct photo.
Move camera to the bottom right and away from the document.
And then it'll recognize the text. Read me the headings.
I see appetizers, salads, paninis, pizzas, pastas.
Hi. Years ago, this was science fiction. I never thought it would be something that you could actually do. But artificial intelligence is improving at an ever faster rate. And I'm really excited to see where we can take this. As engineers, we're always standing on the shoulders of giants, building on top of what went before. And in this case, we've taken years of research from Microsoft Research to pull this off.
I think it's a young girl throwing an orange frisbee in the park.
For me, it's about taking that far-off dream and building it one step at a time. I think this is just the beginning.
So this video is a tearjerker. Thank you. This video is a tearjerker. I've seen grown adults crying after watching this. The reason it harmonizes the concept of machine learning, artificial intelligence, with how it can improve our lives, how it can improve our capabilities as humans, and how it can help with people with accessibility issues or disability issues. And that's where I think the breadth of that comes in. As we have seen, that artificial intelligence, machine learning, and digitization has significantly changed the spectrum of every industry. There are tons of industries which we work with as UST Global: manufacturing, retail, healthcare and life sciences, travel and hospitality, financial services, energy, feedstock, utilities, you name it. There's AI and machine learning right now in your pocket. The way you take a selfie and it recognizes your face. Everybody has probably seen howold.net. If you haven't, you probably want to go there and check out what tells you about your age, howold.net. So there's a lot of implementations, not just from the social media side of it, but actually from real life side of it. We are implementing solutions where they can tell you how long a specific part is going to last in a supply chain life cycle. We are implementing solutions where, I'll walk through these, which are not this, okay? We don't think of technology as this. We think of technology as this. So technology being not evil, but technology being a part of a solution. And of course, everything the speakers said earlier was valid. We need to provide governance around it. The biases are real. If you right now do a machine learning algorithm and build an index of all the web developers, it will turn out to be like, if you search what a web developer look like, it would be 25 to 35-year-old white male who lives in Bay Area is a web developer or a software engineer, right? But that's not what should be. There's a variety and diversity. So those are the problems there within the technology which we need to address. However, we see technology as a solution provider. We see bots and virtual assistants to provide you voice assistants, personal advisor, chatbots, visual intelligence around this. And we build a solution around this. There is no escaping this, right? We are currently in your house, one of these devices might be present. You have these devices available to enhance your shopping experience, to enhance your living experience. When I leave the house, I ask, do I need an umbrella? Okay, Google, do I need an umbrella? And it tells me about the weather patterns. We built applications around this and ecosystems around it to enhance our harmony living with machines. Bots and machine learning applications are the new apps. They are everywhere, and we embrace them as part of our society. We build applications around those. We build systems around those which can help you do simple tasks as shopping. Something like this. You see this one? This is actually me asking earlier about my suit. I think it's hard. There's a tough crowd. The jokes fall flat when people are hungry. So in terms of the machines and the human interaction coming together, there are certain things which we do really well as humans, right? So for example, the natural language part of it, the memory, the perception, the anticipation, the solving of the problems, the natural innate ability we have to solve problems, the decision-making part of it, right? Those are the conceptual things we use from our brain perspective. However, there are other things which machines do really well. The natural language processing, the vision part of it, the dialogue and conversation, the domain data analysis, right? Our memories are limited. So a combination of these technologies can really enable a society. it really can enable people to do great things based on this information. Some of the statistics from artificial intelligence perspective, and again, I agree, they might be a little bit biased towards North, but the 85% of the customer interaction will be managed without a human. Now, of course, there is a question about what's going to happen in a society in that era, and there are various different prospects being proposed, including minimum income, as well as letting people do more with their free time. However, this is something which is predicted as in it's about to happen. So how we adjust accordingly and how we do these things within our society, how we can augment intelligence to support that is an important area where we should think about. Cognitive computing, I'm sure you probably have heard about this, the cognitive computing. That's another area where AI is the new UI. Now again, I always say that innovation is not a destination, it's a journey, right? So yesterday, playing chess used to be the best artificial intelligence implementation. Now that's not the case. Building artificial intelligence-based UIs, building bots, that is what's in right now. That's what's happening. And that bar keeps increasing. The bar keeps rising. By 2020, smart agents will facilitate 40% of the mobile interactions, and the past era app will begin to dominate. So we are seeing a fundamental shift in how the call centers get managed. In this case, we harmonize and build co-pilot-style applications. We start thinking towards how humans and machines can come together, and how I can give this kind of information available to a customer service representative, or a person who is taking my call, or somebody who can actually see this information, and machine is assisting a human being to answer another human in a very effective manner. This is called the supervised learning. So once an algorithm learns different aspects, it actually can provide this feedback to humans. And this is very highly used technology right now in various different areas. Here you can see tons of documents gets looked into, the data gets extracted out of them, and then it gets served to the people who are in search of that information. So these kind of things, what I'm trying to, if you can take one lesson from this whole talk, is that AI augments the humans. We are not against artificial intelligence. This is not a man versus machine war. It's more about augmentation of human lives, improvement of human lives. An artificial intelligence learning process starts from the beginning of an integration, and then it learns. And then it tries to answer some of the questions, and then it becomes full autopilot, and then it rules the world. No, I'm just kidding. Last part doesn't happen. But this is the idea is, it's a step-by-step process how we go through. And this is how enterprises today, the companies today, the biggest retailers, the Walmarts and the Anthems and the Comcasts and the AT&Ts of the world are actually applying these technologies. And we are actually at the forefront of that. We see that things happening, how the AI and machine learning are transforming the healthcare industry by telling people which patient is actually going to show up for an appointment, by applying predictive analytics. Biometrics, by eliminating the passwords, right? We have the faces and the fingers and various other things to actually log in and being able to access our devices more securely. So this is a really great use case when Uber wanted to identify that if I am an Uber driver, if I ask my brother, hey, can you go drive it for me instead of me driving it? Right? That's a safety issue. That's a human issue. What if my brother or whoever I gave the car to is not the ideal person? What if he's not the most trustworthy person? Right? It's a safety issue. So the way Uber implemented it is by asking randomly during the day the driver to take a picture and send it over to our friends at the cloud we talked about. There's no human, right? The human is not sitting there matching the picture. Like that. No. So it's happening, it's like it's automatically, it takes a picture, sends it out over to the cloud, and verifies the identity of the driver. I mean, this is a safety issue which gets implemented by machine learning. And this is, again, not rocket science. We are implementing these solutions today in the industry. Similarly, you will see technologies for predicting the failure of bots. So is it better to have an industrial scale accident, or rather just detect there are issues going on within your bots or within your warehouse, and then detect them and then be able to predict it and implement those solutions, right? We can do that today. Similarly, we can do this bottom of the basket fraud. It's a really good story when in the United States, companies are using billions with a B dollar because of this issue, where people forget and put some stuff at the bottom of the basket, and then they drive out, so either purposefully or on accident, and then we don't know what's in there. So computer vision is the capability which detects their items in the bottom and notifies the cashier, right? So you have this intelligence capability built in, which is doing that without a human doing it. Okay? So these kind of capabilities we see on an everyday basis. We have the predictive modeling if patient will show up for the appointment. This is a statistical exercise where it looks at the demographic, the mobility of the customer, looking at the patient if he actually have a transport available. Does he have accessible transport available? What if they can't drive? What if they live in a poor neighborhood? What if they don't have a transportation available? What are the most vulnerable of our population gets the worst healthcare? So how can we improve that using machine learning and artificial intelligence? So these are, again, the enablers, the thing which helps community and harmonize the artificial intelligence and machine learning part of the equation. Shopper analysis. This is something more enterprisey, not as much, I guess, human-friendly, but it analyzes through augmented reality how a behavior of a shopper would be. If I look at this specific item, and I'm like, I don't like it, machines can actually do a sentiment analysis in real time and can give that feedback over to the person who's in charge of whatever the marketing campaign is, and then they can modify and get those feedback. Blockchain, that's another one of the enablers, right? So by this, you can actually have smart contracts when you can transfer data across, information across multiple different places. So when we talk about blockchain, usually the cryptocurrency comes into mind, Bitcoin and Mt. Gox. So blockchain is way beyond that. It's more than just doing purchases on an illicit website. It's a huge network which can enable the growing economies to build smart contracts, build chains, build aggregates, and provide value. All of this behind, you need faster, better, improved architecture. And this, like it was said earlier, should not only be focused towards the Facebooks and the Googles and the Microsofts of the world, but rather should be more democratized. And that's what we believe in. We believe in building these kind of infrastructure and data centers in developing countries. And last but not least, the culture of innovation and agility. That's really important. Right? All of the things I talked about would not be possible, would not develop, or will not happen if you don't build a culture within your enterprise, within your organizations, to build mobility, to build agility, to have that ideas, acceptance of ideas, and help people to actually embrace the change. Fail fast, right? Start fast, fail fast, build fast. So that culture needs to be built as part of the organization to do that. In order to do this kind of implementations, you need a lot of these components. And we as UST Global make these things much easier to implement by allowing a complete framework of all of these different capabilities, from cognitive AI to digital assistant and vision for object detection, recommendation systems. So all of these things you actually see today in being built and used in various different industries. Here I picked on financial services because most of you are familiar with financial services. You use banking industry on a daily basis. You know how these things work. So think about portfolio management, algorithmic trading, fraud detection. I'm using my card here. I flew in from Dallas yesterday, and if I use my card over here, it can notify, my bank is going to notify that your trend is different, right? It's a real-time detection of this kind of fraud detection happening. And this is mainstream now. It's not rocket science. This is the human augmentation. You have underwriting, you have customer service, improved and enhanced security, sentiment analysis. So if somebody wants to know if there is bad stuff being said about them on the Twitter, they can start doing sentiment analysis for their brands, personalized financial services, reducing the fraud and fighting crime, and sales and recommendations. So these are all different areas where artificial intelligence is getting used. Usually when we think about artificial intelligence in general, we start thinking about AGI. So there's this term AGI, artificial general intelligence. That is the big picture of how we think of a Skynet, how we think of intelligence generating intelligence, how we think of a overload for intelligence. That's AGI. What we are talking about in terms of AI is how we can help different sectors in the industry actually enhance, implement these solutions. There's another thing I wanted to talk about is RPA, which is robotic process automation. That some people start thinking like, okay, so this is going to make a bunch of people unemployed because all of their work is going to be taken out by these robots. Now, if you think about an Amazon data center, do you think the amount of orders they serve today is possible by human capital? The accuracy, the delivery, it's going to be a really, really, really hard problem. So there is a time and a place for machines in our lives, right? So robotics process automation is one of those places where you don't want to copy things, spend your time like 8 hours a day copying things from Excel sheet to an email and sending things into people, right? That is a task which is more suitable for a mindless machine, a robot. So the way it's transferring, how it's transcending, the technology is transcending, it's happening that human beings will be more focused towards intellectually capable tasks, to things we do really well, thinking, achieving, building things, which are, machines are not really good at intuition. Machines are terrible at intuition. We are good at intuition. We can build those things. So think about RPA as an augmentation and helping us out in this whole digital workforce, building software bots, building back office tasks. To sum it all up, I know I went over a majority of things, and I'll be more than happy to take answers towards the end. To sum it all up, these are some of the aspects of how artificial intelligence and intelligence augmentation works, right? So in enterprise, you saw some of the use cases. Autonomous vehicles are coming, robots, and drones. There is a study being done in Africa where they were, Stanford University did, where they wanted to figure out if all the aid is actually going towards the right place. And in order to do that, what they did is they applied Google Maps, and they looked at the maps of the roofs of Google Earth from a couple of years ago till the latest years. And they distinguish by looking at the roofs to see if the structure of the roof has changed, if they have now more better built houses as compared to before, to figure out if the use of aid was actually being progressed in an effective way. So this is one of the use cases where AI and machine learning can get applied onto a larger geographic scale. Again, UST Global, like I said, is a partner with the Stanford AI Lab. So we work on deep learning, predictive analytics, computer translation, classification. These are all fancier terms, but they translate really well when you have a good business problem and how you can tie that business problem with technology. And that's where we come in. That's where human capital comes in. People will come in and then say, hey, this is a problem. It can be solved by speech to text. I'm deaf. I can't hear. Would I be able to get live transcription of the text? And we see nowadays, I was at Microsoft Ignite last week, and live transcription was happening to almost human quality. It was surprising how good it was done, how well. It was a Skype API. You can test it out right now, and it does human transcription really well. Again, UST Global, we are partners with MIT. We are partnered with Stanford AI Lab and various other companies in building artificial intelligence and machine learning aspects of business processes and implementations. And that's pretty much sums up what I was going to talk about. The last thing I would like to leave you with is technology is not evil. Technology helps you build systems to help you enhance and augment the human experience. It's beyond that, so take it for what it's worth, and I'll give you 3 minutes back so you can head quickly towards your lunch. Thank you very much.